Hello, this is John Boero, here to show you an introduction to AI Shell, or AISH. This is just a bit of a fun project, a side project during my downtime. I'm kind of collaborating with Dimitro here on a couple of projects around AI. Now, what AI Shell is a simple shell interface to put AI in the terminal. And if you ask me, the CLI is a perfect use case for a language learning model, an LLM. So we take things like OpenAI, ChatGPT, the API, and also Google's Bard, and put them into the CLI. Now, the interesting bit of that is, again, it takes a simple communication system, input-output, ties it to standard in, standard tin, apparently, typo, standard out, standard error, etc., like a normal shell. So you also get support for shebang scripting. So anything that you can type into a chat window can be scripted, which actually produces some interesting results. Now, currently we support GPT and Bard for chat, and also a shell mode. So shell GPT and shell Bard, which essentially is dangerous. Do it at your own risk, but it produces some interesting opportunities. So that will essentially have it write code for you and execute it locally. So translate your natural language typing from a script into actions, which is great because anybody can script without some high-tech experience. It is extensible. It's written in simple C++ standard 11. Don't judge my code. I break a lot of style guidelines just in the name of simplicity and minimalism. So in the end, what we get is this cool, simple CLI for chat APIs. So specify a mode, -m chat GPT, for example, or -m space chat GPT, using libcurl and libjson C++ underneath. So a really small file, really small binary, and you can use the standard libcurl proxy environment variables, that kind of thing. AISH temp is a global environment variable for the temperature of your AI. Default to 0.2 because we want precise answers. Shell modes, again, they download code and they execute. So be very careful. That can be unpredictable. It can also do some really cool things. So chat modes are standard, just like you type into the web browser. And also this is then applied to your CLI. The trace flag, as a normal shell, produces the output alongside your normal execution if you're using a shell mode. So it'll actually show behind the scenes what's going on, what it's running. An interesting concept of paragraph mode, and this is kind of experimental, but instead of just every new line, every return causing an execution, it will wait for a blank line. So you can essentially type a large paragraph to an AI before you submit, and then hit two new lines, two returns to execute. Okay, so again, anything you type, you can script out. So here, for example, we have a dateware.aish. You put the shebang user bin aish at the top, and that means that this will then run as a script. So show the current time, and we also use a parameter 1. So we support just basic parameters via text substitution, $1, $2, that kind of thing. No string operations, that kind of thing. In 24-hour time format, include the time zone. So here we say call that script with any city, any location, for example, London, which is substituted in the script for that $1, and then all we get is the result, right? So this is shell Bard mode, which is actually the default mode. Bard has a Bison model, which is really good at just generating code. Doesn't generate any commentary around that. It's not a general purpose model like the ChatGPT or the generic Bard ones, right? Now, we also, because it's a generative LLM, you can have a lot of things happen locally. So example, if I make a folder for each planet in our solar system, and it's done, right? What it can't do is analyze your data, right? It's not an analytical LLM, so you're not about to upload a 20 megabyte log file and have it digest that, at least not yet, right? So that may be something in the future, but it's really good at creating something for your local system. It's not so good necessarily at analyzing your data unless it's already available in some backend for the AI. Okay. Now, the ChatGPT support, so -m, ChatGPT or -m, Shell GPT, use the standard environment variables for OpenAI, OpenAI org, and your API key. So again, ChatGPT, you can just type here like you would a normal ChatGPT session. There is a history file. There's no persistent storage of your session, right? So we accumulate the JSON document as you're going, the threads with system user during the current session, but that isn't stored to disk. Only the history is then saved to your home directory .aish/history. Okay. But this presents some interesting options too, because you can still redirect any of this input-output. Okay. Caveats again, extracting the markdown. So we often find a lot of APIs use markdown to distinguish code sections, which is not a guarantee. Again, ChatGPT is a general purpose model. A lot of the OpenAI models used to be specialized before. Now they've all kind of been combined into ChatGPT. 3.5 Turbo is the current version that it uses. That also likes to annotate things and explain, right? This is what I would do. This is how you can do it, as opposed to just giving you the code. So there's no session persistence to disk yet. Again, there's no native option to manage AWS cloud resources. Ironically, this is Dimitro's forte. If you want to use OpenAI to manage your AWS infrastructure, try our AIOps.chat, which is a web-fronted interface to say, give me this cloud resource in AWS. And the AI will do it for you. Really slick, actually. It works really well. Now, Google Bard support, on the other hand, we have the same thing, -m chatbard or shellbard. And again, if you just want to chat, that's great. Chat in the case of Bard or the Vertex API in Google Cloud. First of all, you need to have the environment variables similar. You need to have a cloud project in GCP. You need to define that environment variable for Cloud SDK core project and also Google application credentials. And if anybody out there from Google says that's deprecated, please let me know. I find a lot of different versions for these. But again, you can just chat. You can also, in the general chat, manipulate cloud resources in GCP, which is really cool. Right? So can you please deploy me a small Drupal instance in my project, London region, and small VMs or Cloud Run if possible? And sure, it'll ask you. I can do both. Okay, please use Cloud Run. The one caveat, again, and I'll get into caveats in the next slide, is that this, at least currently in its beta state, this is obviously Bard is still in beta, doesn't necessarily have follow-through. Some of these cloud resources seem to be sandboxed or isolated, right? And I don't know, for example, if that's an actual Drupal response. So a lot of potential. Again, it's great because if you deploy servers either with the chat Bard or AIOps.chat, oftentimes the AI will actually be able to tell you what's wrong with your logs. In fact, deploy a VM running application XYZ in the Google Cloud, it will then tell you, there's something wrong with your logs, I can fix that. Do you want me to fix that? And you just say yes. So again, you can script this, you can parameterize that, you can change the region. You don't have to know the APIs, you don't have to know Terraform. It's just, it works, which is a great sign. When they finally release that as GA, Bard is going to be amazing. Okay. Again, there's no persistent sessions on the disk. So your JSON document will accumulate through the session, but then it won't be persisted to disk. Shell works great because the Bison model is actually specialized just in writing code. So that's how we do the, make a current directory for every planet in the solar system, or like crazy things like make a directory for each team in the Premier League if you want to get exotic, right? It's not guaranteed. Sometimes it will try to do a curl for a resource to look up the current list of something that it needs, and sometimes that link will be 302 or missing or 404. So give it a try. Be very careful. Use it in a development or sandboxed environment if you can. Chat mode supports native management of GCP, which is really cool. I look forward to that going GA. And then cloud resources, again, yeah, seems sandboxed for now. So they do seem allocated, but they're not in my project, which is interesting. That's probably just a safety feature during the beta. Anyway, and in the future, I'd love to see more AI models added. I'd like to do Llama. I'd like to do some of maybe on-premise and self-managed LLMs as well. It's super easy to write a handler for this, right? Again, the code is not complex. It's not using OOP. It's not object-oriented. It's not always following the best standards, but it is really simple. All you have to do is take a command, and then process that however you choose. So anybody that's curious to add more, again, this is MPL public, open to pull requests, open to feature additions and anything you want to add. And again, if you want to go back to Dimitra's project, the AIOps.chat, have a look at that. That's literally the URL, AIOps.chat. Okay. Again, thank you, and yeah, hope you enjoy. Again, be very careful. AI is unpredictable, so use it at your own risk. All right. Thank you. Cheers.